I go by the name of Parker Zensai, the anime freshman.
Hi, and I'm Arfath of Arfath Eats.
And today, we're joining forces with Galaxy in Elephant and Castle to serve you up with the next portion of the Fresh Bites Review Show.
This show is about taking a bite out of anime.
Galaxy is a 2-for-1 when it comes to a sensory experience, offering both authentic Chinese delicacies to also doubling up as a high-quality karaoke bar. The food on offer is mouth-watering and a true feast to your eyes and taste buds. From Chinese barbecue to hot staples and even cold dishes, Galaxy really does it all and hits every note you might be looking for. The Chinese barbecue skewers are a particular favourite of mine, which are full of flavour and highly addictive. Depending on how many drinks you've had, you might even mistake the skewers as a makeshift microphone. Which leads me into the top quality karaoke facilities, with 5 massive karaoke rooms that can house a few friends to up to a party of 22 people. These karaoke rooms are no joke. Each uniquely designed, don't forget to check out the space ceilings, with thousands of songs to choose from, air conditioning, and even the ability to order food and drinks directly to your room. You can live out your own private concerts all day long, just like Bocchi and the band would. And now over to Zen for that anime breakdown.
Animated by Cloverworks, the studio behind Spy Family, My Dress Up Darling, and The Promised Neverland. Bocchi the Rock follows Hitori Goto, a shy and socially awkward high school girl who dreams of becoming a rock musician. Despite her fears, she decides to take a bold step by joining a band. Alongside her new friends, Nijika, Ryu, and Ikuyo, she navigates the challenges of music, friendship, and personal growth. Each member brings their unique personalities and struggles, creating a dynamic and relatable group. Through their shared passion for rock music, Hitori learns to find her voice, both on stage and in life. It's a heartfelt and humorous journey of self-discovery, the ups and downs of chasing your dreams, and the transformative power of music that resonates with anyone who has ever felt like an outsider. Live, another episode. Episode number 4, right?
Back again, yeah.
Back again, but new location as always. And what are we touching on today?
Today we're touching upon Bocchi the Rock. So this has been an anime out for a while, but actually it was the first time I saw it pretty recently. If we just jump straight into kind of the premise and concept of the show, we follow our, I guess you call protagonist, Hitori. And what makes it really interesting is she's a character that suffers a lot from kind of like isolation, social anxiety. Actually, Bocchi means loneliness in Japanese, right? And
her parents done one naming her in that case.
yeah, wasn't a win in that case. In order to kind of combat, how she's feeling and trying to go through what is a difficult time during high school and middle school, she decides she wants to form a band. She wants to get into music, play the guitar, make fans and friends all over the world. And so this story kind of follows her journey to that. And obviously along the way we meet a couple of her bandmates that have their own stories along the way. So our party kind of consists of Hitori, Nijika, Ryo, and Kita, and each of them come into the story in a quite awesome way, I think, actually. Yeah.
What I like about the foursome is they have a very good foil. So each of them kind of have a way of, I guess, complementing each other. So you have 2 introverts and 2 extroverts, but they're kind of like on different poles, if that makes sense.
And it's like almost like everyone's on a different wavelength, but there's balance there. Everyone's at the right wavelength, even though it's all different, and they kind of come to unison to create this like amazing music as the anime showcases. But it's a very different anime to what I usually would be watching. I think early on we both were making comparisons to Komi Can't Communicate, which is a more recent anime, but you can definitely see a lot of takings of what Bocchi has done into a series like that.
I want to add to the whole Komi Can't Communicate thing. With that, it kind of, I watched Komi before I watched Bocchi the Rock, and Komi was my first kind of, I guess, introduction to a character who struggles with social anxiety, so much so that she almost can't function. But Bocchi takes that social anxiety and makes it super comedic, and that's something that I really take away from the show.
Yeah, I think the way that it handles social anxiety and those kinds of sensitive topics, like you said, comedically, and even with the way they kind of does its art style. Whenever Bocchi goes through a really like traumatic experience,
a Bocchi moment, basically.
A Bocchi moment. That's a great way to put it. The animation style might change, and then suddenly, she's inside a pipe, or she's covering herself in a mango card box, one performing on stage, or she's run away from school, or she has her own ways of dealing with it. And whilst there is a comedic undertone, I think it handles the topic very well. Not too seriously, but you can relate. A lot of the moments I could relate.
Touching on her whole anime and the whole animation point of view, I like how they change their art style and how they basically emphasize the Bocchi moments. It kind of reminds me a little bit of another anime called Keep Your Hands Off Isaacan, where they kind of make the animation style very outlandish, and that's something that is a highlight of the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like even though I've not read the manga for Bocchi, kind of touching upon Komi as well, it almost drops from an anime to manga, at moments when you have those Bocchi moments. But I think it's all very endearing at the end, and again, it's like a coming of age story, so the more you watch it, the more you kind of root for her. And then it's still at a season 1, even though it's an old anime. We don't know if there's going to be a season 2 yet.
I hope there's a season 2.
Me too. But I think in terms of how anime is, it's a very well-rounded story.
You know, the funny thing is as well, I saw a headline randomly. I think my phone's listening to me, but on the way, they basically mentioned that the soundtrack and the music from Bocchi the Rock is basically really going viral over, especially in Japan, and it's charting like crazy. And I guess we can kind of like emphasize or highlight where we chose to do this episode today.
Yeah, so today we're here at Galaxy in Elephant and Castle, as you probably mentioned in your intro. And what makes this place fun, as well as all the delicious food in front of us, is it doubles up as a place for karaoke. They have like a number of rooms upstairs where you can, sing and eat at the same time, drink. And this place has been here for a while, so I'd say it's kind of making its mark on the area. But I thought, if we're doing a Bocchi episode, she wants to make it as a rock star. Why can't we make it as rock stars?
or with the microphones as well.
That's it. Look, we've upgraded this. So, shall we get into the food?
So we basically have some
social skewers. Yeah.
Some social skewers over here. We have a different array of skewers. But also, one thing that she really does as well is she has the art style on her face changes when it zooms into her. So she will basically go into her own world. Her face will look crazy and it'll kind of like be smashed. So smashed cucumbers.
Yeah, I'm loving the association. It's really good.
That's my attempt to do tie-ins over here. But what do you have over your side?
Sure. So on my side, I'm gonna start here with our cold noodles with mixed veg. So the reason I decided to pick this is because during the show, maybe it's set around the summertime, but our band loves ice drink. They love cold foods. They love ice cream. Early on in the series, when Itadori opens up her freezer, you just see frozen noodles, frozen dumplings, frozen veg. So this is a homage to that. Their love for cold food, and it'll be something very interesting to try. Obviously, the weather here is heating up as well, so having something quite cold and refreshing is nice. And I'm not sure have you ever tried cold noodles before?
Do you know what? I want to say yes, but I think I'm gonna go no.
Yeah, so it's very different from the hot experience.
Not intentionally at least.
Yeah, but it is super refreshing. And then last but not least, we have here our dim sum platter. So even though the show is set in Japan and they go through a lot of Japanese food, dim sum is a Chinese staple, and it's a great dish for sharing. You order little bits, everyone has a piece. It's a very like brunch time of day menu item, I would say. But the reason I wanted to touch upon this is the gang eat a lot together. So this is a very nice kind of touch upon that, where we're here together to eat this and try this. And even though I think Hitodori's favorite food is French fries, we don't have French fries here, so we're going for the next best traditional thing we could get, which is dim sum. So it's just a collection of baos and dumplings with various fillings such as shrimp, pork, and it's going to be really, really delicious, especially when paired with the skewers and the cucumbers. So shall we?
Yes.
All right.
Let's do it. Section is talking about favorite parts from the anime. What is some of your favorite moments from the series?
I think the being a kind of slice of life and seeing Bocchi go through many different factors of dealing with social anxiety, I had many favorite moments, like many. But I think the one two that stands out, I have to start with the cultural festival at Bocchi's school. Obviously during high school, she missed out on the opportunity to make friends, to perform, to actually attend the cultural festival. So when she reached middle school and she made friends through her bandmates, it was a very nice moment for them to all share. And they did a variety of activities, from like haunted houses to teasing Bocchi at a maid cafe, and then obviously leading up to the performance on day 2. I think the reason that was such a main or big moment for me was because if you told me Bocchi at the beginning of the series would have done all of that, I would have said no way. You know what I mean? So her character development to get to that point and to engage and be involved in that was something that as a viewer I was very proud of, and it was a very heartwarming feeling. At the same time, Bocchi's the type of person who, even though she's very introverted, and you see that through her reactions, whenever she is in the moment, she really captures that and she takes it all in, and she's fully, she's committed. So I think that was a really nice moment for all of them to share, together. And then my second favorite moment would be a few episodes before she meets Hiroi on the streets.
Literally.
Yeah. So Bocchi was feeling quite uneasy with selling her quota of tickets. So she was just walking around the streets and she ran into Hiroi, who firstly comes across as this just drunk, basically, drinking in the middle of the day, like reeking of booze.
It was the morning.
Or morning even, yeah, she probably didn't sleep. So reeking of booze. What what you find out through their relationship and connection is that Hiroi is also a guitarist for another band, an indie band. And so actually she helped Bocchi to kind of gain confidence in her ability, in her performance, and they did a street performance together, which is very unlike Bocchi. You don't expect her to do that. But through that, she became friends with Hiroi, and then we saw her appear in many episodes afterwards, and you realize actually she's friends with Nijiki's sister. And then, yeah, they became good friends. She sold a quota of tickets, and I think she learned a very valuable lesson in that moment. And I think that was, for me, the turning point for Bocchi. When she did that street performance, when she believed in her ability, when she sold the tickets, she spoke to people. For me, that was it. That's when Bocchi was like, I'm officially a guitarist, and I'm, working through my introvert ways. And again, a very proud moment.
One of my moments will kind of tie into your Hiroi moment because, like you said, the first time we bump into Hiroi, you just see a drunk on the street. You're kind of worried for Bocchi. Like, should someone get
Don't talk to people like
like you're talking to strangers. That's what's going on. She looked dangerous, but as you know, she kind of takes on the unintentional role model figure for Bocchi.
Almost like a big sister, right?
Yeah. She's almost like a big sister for her, and it kind of developed into a thing where after the whole street performance, you see that she eventually comes down to the hangout for Bocchi and Co. And that's where, like you said, you find out that she's friends with the older sister or the manager of that establishment. So later on, to kind of, I guess, return the favor, Hiroi invites Bocchi to her kind of clubhouse. And it's a thing where during that invite, at first you thought that it was just a random invite, but I kind of see it being a thing where she's also trying to mentor Bocchi and show her band. Yeah. So you get to see her band, which I believe is called Sick Hack, I believe they're called.
Yes, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so you go over to Bocchi's rival, should I say, clubhouse, and you see Yoshida, who is their manager. And when you first see Yoshida, it's a thing where he's sitting there counting money, and he's got a stern face. I think he's got piercings.
You're like a Yakuza, right? He's just like,
yeah, he's just so stern.
Very cool.
And then you see Bocchi. Obviously, you know Bocchi's gonna be scared, but not even Bocchi's scared. Even the sister of the blonde sister, Nijikima, that's the one. She goes, I want my big sister. Yeah. Like she's shook, and
she's almost like took her for granted. She's like, I want her back.
I want to go back.
Yeah.
But then you kind of see Yoshida instantly go, oh, he's literally totally opposite. So much so that they even say that his face doesn't match his personality. So that was kind of like a little moment that I enjoyed seeing. I'm a big fan of Easter eggs. So another favorite moment of mine would be like kind of looping back to how we speak about the animation and the art style and whatnot. They give Easter eggs and nods to Dragon Ball Z. So there's one moment where Bocchi is like the lowest of the low. She basically is so unimposing that she gets bullied by seagulls. Like, so much so that the seagulls literally like flock on her, beat her up. Next thing you know, the camera cuts to her and she's lying in the crater in the Yamcha pose after Yamcha fought the Cybermen. Another little Dragon Ball reference that they did as well was when later on Bocchi develops the nerve to try to quit her job. She powers up like a Super Saiyan to try to like get the courage, but it's all for naught at the end of the day.
I think they also even referred to her at that moment like, oh, she's going Super Bocchi.
Super Bocchi, yeah. Move on to our mains. So
yep.
What do we have in front of us?
Cool. So we've got the Chongqing chicken, which is cooked in a pot,
Yes.
nice and spicy. We've got braised beef in a tomato gravy. We have classic just egg stir-fried rice. We have an interesting omelette here made with chives and oysters. And then to finish, we have our lamb stir-fry with spring onions. So for me, I mainly wanted to focus and touch upon the egg and the tomato, just because I found in the series, as I was watching it and I kind of pick out food moments, the gang, especially Bocchi, loves egg. She would have egg in bento, they would have omurai, they would have lots of different variations on egg, and so it would be nice for us to try a variation on egg as well. And then with the tomato gravy beef, this one's an interesting one because I think in Chinese cooking in general, there's a dish I love that's actually a mix of the two, egg and tomato, and it's a breakfast dish served with rice. So when I saw they actually did a variation with beef, I thought that would be something quite nice for us to try. And then also, I'm sure as you'll touch upon, when it comes to curry dishes, we obviously know one of the band members is very fond of curry and rice for dinner. So do you want to reveal who that is?
So, yes, that would be Rio. Rio, fun fact as well, she actually comes from a very wealthy family. Yes. She's actually quite well off, but you wouldn't know that from the series because she's always appearing to be broke. So much so that there'll be times where you see her basically eating just onions or something very, very like literally something very minimalistic, because all the money that she gets, she literally spends it on equipment,
guitars,
music,
and stuff,
guitars. Like she basically puts all her money into that. And when it comes to actually like paying for for food, that's what her friends are for. She'll basically use her friends to buy food for her. But yes, it kind of would be something that she would eat, which would be these two over here, and that's why we kind of thought that would be a nice little tie-in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if there's one thing that I saw in the show is a lot of desserts and a lot of curries. You know, you got your classic Japanese curries in terms of chicken katsu, but I think this is a really nice showcase of types of other types of curries out there, especially in Chinese cuisine, and it smells great. It smells really good. Yeah.
I used to wait to dig in.
Yep.
Waiting to dig in.
Shall we dig in?
Waiting to dig in.
Shall we dig? Okay, we're digging in. Okay.
Let's go. That really hit the spot.
Yeah, that was delicious.
So we're coming to the final moments of our episode. But before we do so, I just want to basically, as we've done a special episode around music, one little fun fact that I'm a fan of fun facts, by the way, but one thing that I want to mention is that, have you heard of a band called Asian Kung Fu Generation?
Absolutely not, no.
So they are actually behind a few anime openings. They're behind the anime opening of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
Oh, wow.
A couple of them, and also Fullmetal Alchemist. Wow. Little fun fact, all of the members of our foursome, their last names are the last names of Asian Kung Fu Generation.
That's crazy.
That's actually really cool. And another cool fact is they actually got together to compose and do the lyrics for one of the ending credits of Bocchi the Rock.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a really cool fact. Yeah. I really like that one. That's really cool.
But speaking of music, what would be one of your favorite songs from the series?
The series had bangers, a lot of them. But I think I have to go towards the end of the series in the final episode, where the first song they sung at the cultural festival was called Never Forget. And if you do a deep dive into the lyrics, it's very much it symbolizes Bocchi's journey. You know, how she always felt like a bit of an outcast. She couldn't really push herself to enjoy things because of her shyness and social anxiety. The moments she did experience and when she did start opening up, those are moments she'll never forget. So for me, that was a really touching song, and I think that was the first time as well we saw on screen they're harmonized, they're performing at their peak, they're all happy, they're performing with passion and love and everything. So it was really nice to see, and you could see that in the performance as well. Yeah, I was there behind the screen just like banging along as well. So for me, that was my favorite song from the series. And how about you?
Probably from the same episode. So it'll be their second song from the cultural festival, and it was basically entitled, I'm going to butcher it because I can't remember it exactly, but If I Can Be a Constellation. So what I love about that song, what stood out for me, is sometimes when I'm listening to anime songs, I kind of don't actually read the lyrics. Sometimes I just kind of like, I have vibes with this. But I actually read the lyrics, and it was actually very, very touching. It was a nice little, I guess, like a love story within the lyrics. So much so that I added it to my hours of anime music onto my Spotify playlist. And there's a moment in that song where Bocchi's guitar, one of the strings breaks.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
So one of the strings breaks during it, and she was basically gearing up for her solo. It was supposed to be her big moment, but as she was going for that guitar solo, she realized that there was something off, and then the string broke, and her basically bandmates saw that there was something off, so they basically supported as best they could through their music, while Bocchi had to basically use her ingenuity. She saw a glass on the floor that the drunk
Heroi, she came through.
Yeah, she came through. She was drunk front row, but she had a glass there, so Bocchi picks it up and uses it to kind of like mask the fact that the string broke, and kind of covered for that. And when she does her solo, she nailed it. She stood up. She really stood up, and that would probably be like one of my favorite songs from the series, and also one of my favorite moments also.
Yeah, a really nice way to kind of close out that concert and that series with that song as well. Yeah, I think so.
Right before the stage dive, but let's not talk about that. If you know, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we've come to that time of day.
Yes, difficult time.
Difficult
For me, all these episodes, it's always difficult to come up with a fair ranking, I think. You know.
Speaking of rankings, my good friend, what are you going to give today's anime, Bocchi the Rock?
I think seeing as Bocchi begins with a B, it's only right that I give it a B. I think I was more impressed than I thought I would be with an anime like that. I'm not really into musical stories, and although I am a big fan of slice of life, but I feel like I pick them up quite rarely. So all in all, it was quite a surprise. I think as well, because I picked it up recently, but the series came out 2 years ago. I hadn't really heard of it until it started picking up some hype recently through its music. So I had a really good time. I think just because it's a one season season. I couldn't say it excelled with or anything, and I'd like to see where all the characters go in the future. So for me, I'm pretty stable at a B. And how about you?
So it's very hard for me because I'm actually teetering between both a C and a B.
Okay.
And throughout the episode, I've basically been discussing it with you, and I was very strong on the C at the start, but as we've been discussing and speaking more, I've actually found more moments, or remembered more moments that I appreciate. So I'm going to say Bocchi just about makes it into the B rank for me.
Okay,
like,
nice.
He just makes it in. Why I almost wanted to give it a C was because there's similar series like we spoke about, which is Comic Can't Communicate, where I kind of, I guess, saw the whole introverted main character done before and seen it done again. I was like, oh no, this is a bit cliche, but Bocchi isn't cliche. She does it in her own way. Her art style is amazing, and the series overall is the music as well. It deserves a B. If I gave it a C, it'll be a travesty.
Yeah, and I think now looking at it retrospectively, without a series like Bocchi, you wouldn't have Komi, and you wouldn't have like all these kind of slice of life animes made in that same way. Because Komi also refers to those many like changing art styles to cover up and showcase anxiety and different emotions. And with the music, it's now such a big part of anime in general. I think one of the jokes that was made, like we were talking about references earlier with Dragon Ball, was two of her classmates were talking about backwimps. But actually, they're talking about radwimps, who are notorious as some of the biggest Japanese artists for movies such as Your Name and Weathering with You and Suzume. So
4-4 breaking right there.
Yeah, so again, I think Bocchi, I wouldn't say it paved the way, but it elevated that genre, and I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. One little thing that kind of nodded it into the B for me was if you actually really watch the animation, they have a very comedic style of doing things, but if you actually really pay attention to the background and to how they basically put the comical characters into such realistic looking backgrounds, it's a nice little blend as well.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well done to the studio.
Yes, so what we have here is buns with condensed/evaporated milk. This is a very Moorish, I would say, light dessert. These are, the best way to describe it for me personally is like very light and fluffy Chinese style donuts. And what you do is you take one, you dunk it in, you take a bite, and it's not heavy, it's not too sweet. It's just a perfect way to end any meal. And with the presentation and the way it's presented here, similar to what we've spoken about, it's great for sharing. So a nice fitting way to kind of everyone take their piece. Yeah, so I thought this is something that also the gang would enjoy, and Rio would absolutely devastate if no one's looking. Yeah.
So not only is B for Bocchi, B is for bun.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess on this we shall go in.
Yes, let's do it. Boy, look at this. And we do a little cheers here. Cheers.
Cheers.
And let's go in.
Going on in. I'm going to finally do it. So this is going to be the first time we actually properly round out. So just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We're bad at signing out, so we're going to sign up for the first time. Only took us 4 episodes, but I've been Parker Zensai, the anime freshman.
And I'm Arfath of Arfathies.
If you enjoyed the series, make sure to like, subscribe, follow us, and check out the past episodes. We shall be back soon for another helping of the Fresh Facts Review.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.